Blessings, everyone. Welcome to the Thriving Healer. I'm your host, Karina Nickerson, and as you know, I am talking to amazing leaders in the healing arts, all about building emotional mastery and releasing from self-doubt so you can take aligned action towards your soul calling. And I'm so excited to be introducing you to our guest today, Margarita Alcantara. Margarita is an activator of the new code of power, activating the power codes in others, as well as opening portals of power on Mother Gaia. She does this by opening the door to the source of true power, to clear artificial power and unify Earth into light. Whew. She is a mouthpiece for the goddess consciousness, an embodiment of Mother Gaia, conduit between the Star Nation and Mother Gaia, mentor and chakra expert. Her worldwide global activation experiences create personal and planetary transformation. As a licensed acupuncturist, Reiki master, teacher, and shamanista medicine woman, she helps her patients awaken into their spiritual badassery at her private practice in New York City. She channels powerful healing at her weekly Monday Facebook Live event, the Mother Gaia Power Portal. She is a #1 best-selling author, contributing writer to the Huffington Post, Mind Body Green, and Elephant Journal, and her book Chakra Healing was published by Althea Press. Welcome, Margarita.
Hey there, Karina. Thank you for having me.
Hey there. I'm so happy to have you. I'm so looking forward to what transpires here. And so I'd love to hear, as I ask all of the experts, about your journey to doing the healing work that you're doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, whenever we venture in as healers, it's usually because we're trying to heal something within ourselves or for somebody that we love. And for me, it was really just to gain balance, because that was my thing that I needed to work on the most. And so, just really, and the reason why I had been out of balance was because I wasn't trusting my intuition, which is very much connected to my personal power. And so there was a point in time where I shut down my third eye, I shut down my heart, because I was getting a lot of that information from people around me that, it's weird, you're too sensitive, like, stop doing that, it's strange. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm shutting it down. It's bothering people, right? So I shut it all down, and that initiated various dark nights of the soul. And when that happened, then there were hospitalizations, psychiatric cocktails, and all kinds of things that, it's a journey. It certainly was a journey. And I emerged from that, and like, basically one day I just couldn't pay for my insurance anymore, and so therefore I couldn't pay for my medications. And so I wouldn't recommend this, but I just stopped cold turkey on everything, because I simply didn't have the funds. And then once I did, I suddenly started meditating, and that just opened stuff up for me. And basically, I just opened up into my power, into my intuitive abilities. It all, like, came in. I was claiming all of my power. And after that, I just never looked back. But during that time, it was pretty dark. And, it's one of those things that, I guess some shamans actually call that like an initiation, for a lot of shamans to get into this state. But, we're now in this experience collectively on the planet where you don't have to do that in order to, initiate your own healing. Like, I mean, I don't recommend going the long route. And that is what we're all doing here. And that's why you're creating this summit and masterclass series, so that others can just accelerate and tap in and not go through all the suffering and pain, because it's not necessary, honestly. But that's kind of the old school way of how people have done things, and that's how I did it. And so that's also why I do the work that I do, so that I can help people avoid the stuff I did. And so that's really my journey. And so now, I went into private practice as a healer, started out as an acupuncturist. I'm a licensed acupuncturist in New York City, a Reiki master teacher. I'm also a medicine woman initiated in the Mayan Toltec tradition. And I'm also an activator for the New Code of Power. And so I have been doing a lot more virtual work, especially during the pandemic, and because I had to close my clinic. Because I'm in New York City, which was the epicenter of the pandemic. So we're in, interesting, powerful times to open up into our sovereignty.
Awesome. I love, this, your darkest places, right? Like the darkest places that we've experienced are often where our medicine lies, is what I'm hearing from what you're expressing, right? In the way that you shut down your intuition and all of, the suffering that happens from that. And then, also here listening to how you're pivoting your business, your healing practice during this time when there are folks listening right now who have likely had to close up their, brick and mortar temporarily or permanently. Any like this is off my agenda for what I wanted to ask you, but do you have any um what's allowed you to move through that transition, or what's allowing you to shift and move through this transition doing more online work? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question, because honestly, a lot of healers need to dig into this, because that was one thing that I learned as soon as the pandemic hit. A lot of my colleagues right now, especially licensed acupuncturists in New York City, some of them have permanently closed their doors because that was really their only thing. That was how they made their bread and butter. For me, I was fortunate enough to already be going into virtual work for the past 3 years. So I was kind of already set up for virtual stuff. And so I just kind of kept going. Everyone was like, oh my God, we're shut in and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is kind of like my life. I've been, I've been like at home like a lot, and so, I think really it's about pivoting. It's about, and I know that word was like massively overused for a lot of people, but it really does take pivoting, and it takes creativity, and it's about allowing yourself to metamorphosize and transform into what you're being called into now, because it's still about service. And you get to figure out, okay, how can I be of service, maybe in a more creative way? If the brick and mortar thing is not happening for you right now, like what could you do? And a lot of folks are going online and learning how to do that. And in fact, basically a week after the pandemic hit, I created this offer to help spiritual leaders launch their movement online. Yeah, and it was really helpful because it really helped, light workers and healers start doing their work online. And but then, of course, when you start doing that, you have to be visible and all this stuff that's very triggering for a lot of healers and light workers. So, that was part of the course, was for me to speak into that, and about money too, and receiving money. I mean, because that can be a thing for a lot of healers. So it's really right now about, how do I get to be in service, and how do I not shut down personally so that I can show up for people? That's really what it comes down to.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that you did this, and you did this course. Do you still do it? I'm just curious if are you going to offer it again?
Well, I might,
Yeah.
but it was a one-time thing. It was like a 30-day course with a Facebook group and whatever, and I think I created a little bundle of something of the recordings, just because they're still helpful. But yeah, that might be something I might revisit later. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. We'll be staying tuned for that. I'd love to, it's something that you speak to as the new code of power. And I would love to find out what that is. What is the new code of power? And maybe it would be really helpful first if we unpack what artificial power is, because we're dealing with we're actually waking up collectively to the artificial kind of power structures that have been dominant in our Western culture. So I would love if you could just speak to that artificial power and then the new code of power.
Yeah, and thank you for, asking that. And I can even feel like just as you're asking that, it's like we're already starting to dispel
Yeah.
this hold. Like, I mean, I can feel it in my system, and that's what we get to do. We get to call out the false, the lies, basically. This lie that we're powerless. That's something that at this point, we've been challenged around the power of our own health, the power of the healthcare system, racism, who has power over who, and that kind of thing. And anything where there's manipulation and controlling others, that's artificial power, because that's not even real, right? Like true power is your truth, who you really are as a sovereign divine being, because everyone is like an extension of God, And so when we are not in our power, we forget that. And we then just like perceive that our power comes from outside of us. So, if we can just change the government, if we can just change the police, if we can just, change the CDC or whomever, right? Whomever we're giving our power away to. It's like the truth is that we are the power, right? Like we are the ones who contain the keys to the sovereignty for everybody, right? But if we're too busy looking outside of ourselves for like, oh, they've got the power, they can take care of this. It's like, you can actually take care of this, but first you need to realize that you can and tap into that frequency. And in order to dispel the illusion that you are disempowered, the illusion that someone else has to take care of it in order for you to survive in life, it's like you've got the power for everything in life, right? But we've been taught, and especially women and especially healers, be quiet, don't speak until spoken to, and so like even a silencing of the voice is something that uh, we've grown to learn. I mean, I learned that too growing up. And so it's about dispelling that falsehood of, our voices are dangerous, kind of thing. It's like, it might be dangerous for the darkness, but like, that's where it's only dangerous, right? And so the artificial power is really about the connection to manipulation and putting people down and making others like feel weak and control, things like that, which has nothing to do with you being a divine being on this planet. So really, the true power, which is what I focus on and is all about this new code, right? Like, I mean, the new code can be connected to the new paradigm, the new earth, or however the terminology is for the day, right? But it's like this new energy that we're all tapping into, and the planet is awakening on whatever level everyone's awakening at. Some people are further down the road, some people just woke up, and but it's happening on a grand scale. And so my work and my job is to activate those divine power codes in other people so that they can step up and just be like who they are, like whatever that is. For everyone here, it's like the healers, the intuitive, powerful beings, the light workers, right? And we honestly are the ones who are at the forefront of what the planet gets to experience, because so for so long it's been like, oh, that's great, you've got a little side gig over here doing healings and things, that's very cute, but like honestly
Yeah.
now we are needed. We are there at the forefront because we're the ones who are like holding down the staff of light into the grid of the planet and saying, we are here and let us lead forward in light so that you are in touch with your sovereignty, because you're forgetting who you are, so it's like, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
this is who you really are, and you're all forgetting. And so that's why we're stepping up and showing up, and why you're doing this masterclass even. So, it's important.
So yeah, and it's like what you're speaking to here, this activation is and it's really about, and I'm so excited you're going to lead us into an activation shortly here, but it has to do more with frequency than like what you were talking about, the slow road of like linear kind of healing, right? Which is like, oh, that's the way I used to think about it too. It's like this linear progression. But actually, what you're speaking to is this almost quantum, field and frequency. So when we start vibing at that frequency, then it acts like like a magnet. Could you, before we dive into the activation, talk about your definition of sovereignty? Because there might be people who are listening going, what is that? Or I've heard that word before, but I'm not quite sure what it means.
Right. So sovereignty is just basically having a knowing of your God self, like knowing that you are an extension of God and that you're taking ownership of what that means for you, and so, one of the things that can be really powerful to activate that in oneself is I am statements, because whenever you're saying I am, capital I-A-M, you are literally saying I am this, and that's why our words are so powerful. So if you're saying, I am an extension of God, I am the light of the world, I am power in the frequency of light, then you're just literally claiming your God-given truth. And that's the aspect of your sovereignty, just like you are this unlimited being with this galactic DNA who's here to change the world, right? Like, I mean, that's you being in touch with your sovereign power, is really just your truth on that like activated high frequency level, so that, yeah, like, because once you're in touch with that, like, you can really just vibe that out just from breathing in and out, like you can just vibe that out once you possess that frequency.
Oh, that's like, yeah, I can feel it in my body, right? I'm so glad you're speaking to this. It's like, it's one of my, and she's on this series too, my soul sisters, Dharma Shakti. She says, she's been saying, it's really time to own your namaste. Like,
Mm.
what does that actually mean? Let's really tap into that and own that. And that reminds me of what you're saying. Like, I am part of the divine, I am, powerful. I am a light being. All of these I am statements can really help us drop into that frequency. And so, would you say when we're like doubting ourselves, when we're kind of like, oh, what, why should I do this thing when there's so many other people, that are doing it already? And when we doubt ourselves or we doubt our calling, would you say it's because we're at a lower, is that just a lower frequency that we're embodying in those moments?
Well, I don't know if it's so much a lower frequency, although that certainly can resonate, but it's more of, it feels like a forgetting of your sovereignty, like you
Okay.
forgot how royal you are, how powerful you are, and your truth, because that's not your truth. Like, who am I like, I mean, that's more of like a little existential crisis that a lot of healers have, of like, who am I to be so big, right? Like, and that's a very classic thing that we can possess when we're about to enter into the next level of our being. But you get to be like, who am I not to be?
Yeah.
You get to question that belief, because that's not true. That this whole like, who am I to be that? And it's like, who are you not to be? And the truth is, even if someone else is doing something similar to what you're feeling called to, no one's going to do it like you, and it takes everyone to be pieces in the puzzle for this planet. It's not just one singular savior or something who's going to pop out of the woodwork and like save us all. It's us collectively stepping up in our power, whatever that brand and flavor is, and taking ownership of that, so that like collectively we're unstoppable. And so, we get to go beyond the who am I into the, who am I not to be.
I love it. Yeah, and actually this piece too, because I know this has been true for me, that it's right on the cusp of an expansion or a breakthrough in myself, that the voices of doubt are the loudest. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it could be, it's like you're really on the right path, if those voices, and I know every time I'm about to like, I can track back and go, oh, yeah, like the voices of doubt get really strong. And that's really the time for us to remember, who am I not to be?
Yeah.
So
Because that's
yeah,
also the ego talking, right? Like the ego just wants to keep you safe, and you're about to do something dangerous by expanding, and who God knows what that would mean, right? So it's just like it's just your ego trying to keep you safe, and you can be like, "Thank you, I appreciate that," and you get to take the back seat, like you don't get to drive. I like my truth and my sovereignty gets to drive this time because we're headed into like, yes, uncharted territory, and this is my destiny. This is my job. And so it's that kind of thing, is that you get to see that, like, yeah, before you're about to open up into your next level of, kind of whoop ass, you're gonna like have that doubt. It's gonna happen.
yeah, yeah. Well, will you lead us in an activation? I feel like this is the perfect time to do that.
Okay, sure.
Great.
So I invite you to just drop down into your heart. So whatever has been happening during your days so far, just let it drop away, fall away. And we're just going to drop down, bring our consciousness down into our heart. And I'm actually seeing our hearts unite together and kind of like a network or a grid, if you will, of light workers and healers and those of pure heart, to just connect in that frequency and just allow yourself to feel how connected that is. This feeling of you are not alone, because I think that could come out for a lot of healers and intuitive, powerful beings, is that we can sometimes feel like, oh my God, I'm doing this by myself. But just for right now, feel the network of light, of your heart connecting with my heart and Karina's heart and the hearts of other powerful light workers, not only in this master class, but on the planet. And it's just lighting up the globe with this grid of light. And each person is like a pinpoint, like a staff of light into the planet. And we're anchoring our light and our frequency into this grid with ease and grace, simply just by exuding our light. So I invite you now to kind of tap into the frequency as if we were listening to like a little old school radio. And we're going to turn the knob, and we're just going to kind of adjust the knob to tune in into that higher frequency of your power, of your light, of your sovereign calling on this planet. So we're just tuning into the frequency, nice and easy. And so we're there at that perfect pitch, that perfect frequency, that high vibe frequency. It's tuned in now. And I'm going to take the other knob, and I'm going to gently and subtly and slowly increase the volume on this station, if you will, the station of your high frequency. And we're just going to just gently bring it up and bring it up. Feel your light increase within your heart. It's actually activating, and I'm calling in the diamond sun codes streaming into your crown chakra at the tip top of your head. It's moving through, clearing out any dense vibrations, distractions at the crown that make you believe that you are not supported. And I'm bringing in that column of light down into the pineal gland, in that little pine cone shaped gland between the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And it's augmenting your higher consciousness and activating that so that you may connect with this high frequency signal easily and effortlessly. And now we're bringing in that beautiful diamond sun codes into the heart. And now it's just exuding out of the heart, 360 degrees all over. It's energizing your cellular structure. It's energizing your heart. The walls of your heart are turning a beautiful gold. The organs are also receiving this beautiful golden light and augmenting with this golden frequency. Even your muscles and your fascia and your bones and even the marrow in your bones that are generating the bones, it is all getting upgraded with that golden diamond sun frequency. And it's just emanating from your being. So now it's actually exuding beyond your skin, out into your auric field about 1 to 2 feet out. You're just glowing this golden glow. And this golden glow just automatically transforms with so much love and high vibrational goodness. Anything that's not serving you anymore is just turning into light, turning into pure light frequency. And so just allow yourself to feel that exuding from your system, transforming anything that doesn't serve you anymore into so much love and power and light, and connecting you so deeply into your divine augmented self. And I'm going to bring that energy down into your pelvis, down into your legs, down into your feet, and just ground your frequency into Gaia's heart. So just imagine like a little heart at the center of the planet, and your heart is connecting with her heart right now. And you can feel her ba-boom, ba-boom, just like her vibration of her heart. And it's connecting with your heart, and you're feeling connected with her. And allow yourself to send love. It's just overflowing from you at this point, flowing love into the center of the planet. And she's receiving, receiving, and receiving, getting all juiced up with so much love. And she's experiencing so much gratitude for you right now. And she's sending some energy and vibration back up to you. You might feel it in the next few seconds. And it's coming up into your feet, into the balls of your feet, into your pelvis, and the rest of your body and your heart, and even your hair follicles are feeling it. And you are just feeling so much love from her. So much love, so much gratitude, and even a blessing. She's sending you a blessing, kind of like, thank you for showing up for me, kind of blessing. And so just allow yourself to feel this frequency for just a moment, this connection, so deep, so anchored, so grounded. And when you're ready, you can bring your energy field and awareness back to your body, back to the room, and you can gently open your eyes when you're ready.
Ooh, like, yeah, I feel that in every part of me.
Yeah.
Ah, and I'm sure everyone who's just did that, you know, uh, just is. I wonder what your experience is like. Please, like, drop me an email and let me know what this was like for you. I feel the love, the love, but then I also feel like unstoppable.
Mm. And you are.
Yeah, I am. I'm unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was so, I don't even know how long that was, but it wasn't very long. It didn't feel
No.
like. And right? Like, wow, really powerful medicine.
Yeah.
And those folks who are like new to this idea of activation, what is, what is an act, I mean, I think we just experienced it, but it's this like activation of your energy and of your intuition and just waking it up is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very much on track with that. It's really, when it like on the outside, it looks like me leading you through a visualization. But what I'm actually doing is I'm actually going in and like reconfiguring timelines. So, like some of us create what we call tertiary timelines, which are kind of timelines based on fear and what we don't want, right? And so we create a reality out of that. But what I do with the activations is I focus in on the primary timeline, which is your truth, our truth as a collective, and just like wake that up. So it's actually this DNA awakening, if you will. And so it does like, I don't even know how I can, say I have proof that it activates on the DNA level, but that's what the information is coming to me, is that that's what is occurring. And what will happen, depending on what type of activation it is, because sometimes people are kind of like, in their head, or they need to reconfigure their brain. And so sometimes the activation may be focused on the new light frequency in the brain. And so for a moment, that person can have like a little anxiety, and a little like kind of a change in reality. And then it shifts into what their truth is, and then they're just like, oh my God, things are just so much clearer. And it's just, that's the way their life is now, and it's so, It's really like an internal activation on the DNA level of your divine power codes. And I'm literally just waking them up and saying, come out, it's time for you to emerge.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so important for us as healers to remember we too need healing, right? And thank you for just leading us through that. I mean, you are a healer's healer and just helping the planet wake up to the love that's here.
Yeah.
So just thank you so much for joining us. I'd love for you to share, about it looks like your free gift is throat chakra. Oh, perfect. Power activation video.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so this gift that I have for you guys is a throat chakra power activation, which will focus on activating your fullest expression, because that's one thing, especially as women healers, we've been conditioned to not use our voice, to be silenced, and then we propagate that ourselves, after a while. So this is really to liberate your voice so that you can speak your truth, have it be aligned with your divinity, with your sovereignty, so that you're not only connected with your truth more for yourself, but also for the world, because you've got a job to do and you get to be like completely aligned with how authentic you are. So that's my gift to you.
Beautiful and perfect time. Now is the time, right? I'm just like, now is the time. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Karina. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for joining us. And as you know, you'll want to continue to stay tuned to the rest of the master classes in this transformational series as we continue to help you elevate your emotional mastery and release from self-doubt so you can take bold, aligned action towards your soul calling. Sending you so much love and many blessings. Namaste.